This video is the continuation of my previous two videos where I have discussed organizing and presenting data and how to apply basic statistical concepts on a given data set. And then followed by in a second video, I have discussed about descriptive statistics, and my focus was on measure of location for both ungrouped data and group data. In this video, I will talk about the measures of dispersion, like what is the variation of observations given observations around the mean. So we have different measures of variations which include range, interquartile range, we have standard deviation, so and so forth. So here again, as usual, I will start first with the ungrouped data. So here we have ungrouped data, as you can see in this example. Like this table, it shows the monthly overtime hours worked by 20 employees, and we need to identify that what is the range. And then after this, we need to calculate the measures of location, and we need to round off our answers up to 2 decimal places. We need to identify number one range and then interquartile range. So let's start one by one. The first is the range. So range is basically the difference between the highest observation and the lowest observation, meaning maximum minus minimum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a formula through which we will calculate the range of this given data set. So to calculate the range, I will press equal sign and then I will write max. This max formula will give us the maximum observation in the given data set. So after writing equal and max function, and then we'll have to select the data range. And then I will put minus, and then I will write min, and this min or minimum, again I will have to select the given data set, and this formula will return the minimum, the lowest observation in the given data set. So once you click enter, the answer will come 51. So meaning the difference between highest and the lowest observation is 51. So we can check it also. You can see over here the highest and the lowest. So the lowest is 2 in this data set and highest is 53. So 53 minus 2 will give us 51. So I hope this will be clear to you. Now we have another measure of dispersion called as interquartile range. This terminology will be new to you, quartile. Quartile, basically, these are 3 partition points in our data. For example, let's assume these 4 cells I am highlighting in different color. Let's say it is in yellow. I'm explaining about quartile. Let's assume that this is one line and I need to partition this line into, I'll have to divide this line into 4 equal parts. So which means I will have to cut this line from 3 places. You can see like the first will be this point. You can see I'm scrolling the cursor. The second will be this point and third will be this point. So this point I'm just going to write here. It is called as quartile 1. This line, it is a quartile 1. Quartile are 3 partition points. which divide the whole distribution into 4 parts, and this will be quartile 2. So quarter means 4, and you can see over here, and this point is called as a quartile 3. So quartile 1 is a partition point below which there are 25% of observations. Below which there are 25% of observations. Quartile 2 is a partition point below which there are 50% of observations. They lie. 50% of observation lie below this one in quartile 2 is that partition point. So quartile 3 is the partition point below which there are 75% of observations. So this way, this is what the concept of quartile. Okay, so we need to calculate the first quartile, and then we need to calculate a third quartile, and then afterwards we will calculate the difference to get interquartile range. So let us calculate. I'm just deleting this example. I hope you would have understood. So let's calculate about the first quartile. Technically we will have to calculate in the second part interquartile range. So let's have the first quartile, and we are using ungrouped data, and for ungrouped data we have built-in formulas. So I will write here quartile. You can select this array, comma. Now which quartile we are going to calculate? We are going to calculate the first quartile. So I will put 1 and then close the bracket, click enter. So the first quartile comes as 14.75. Similarly, to calculate a third quartile, I will use quartile function. Here I will have to select the data set, comma. Now it is a third quartile, so I will simply put 3. This will give us third quartile. To calculate the interquartile range, it's very simple. What we can do, we can minus first quartile from third quartile. So it will be Q3 minus Q1. Simply click enter, and here it comes 21.5. So we got range. This is one of the measures of variation. The second, we have calculated interquartile range, and this is 21.5, and I have already explained that how we can calculate the first quartile and a third quartile. Now for this data set, we will have to calculate these measures also. The first is the mean. So mean is very easy. Simply we can use average formula. Once to calculate average formula, then you will have to select this data set, click enter. The mean will come 28.3. Then we have variance. So we can use VAR formula, variance. Double click, select this data set, and then click enter. The variance comes to 84.0105. So we can reduce the decimal places. We can reduce them to 2 decimal places. The next is standard deviation. So equal sign STD EV. Double click on the formula, select this data set, and then click enter. So you will get a standard deviation 16.85. So here I am again going to reduce the decimal places up to 2. Then we have calculate the coefficient of variation. Coefficient of variation, it is in terms of percentage. So the formula is coefficient of variation is standard deviation divided by mean, and this whole, to convert this into percentage, so we can multiply it by 100. So this is the formula. Standard deviation divided by mean multiply by 100. So why we are multiplying this by 100? To convert the result into a percentage. So here I'm going to calculate equal sign standard deviation. So this is standard deviation divided by mean. So mean is this 28.3, and we click enter, and then this will give us 0.5954. So what I'm going to do, I can further multiply this number by 100 to convert it into a percentage, but instead of multiplying it by 100, I will select this option. You see this is a percentage sign. You click on it, and this number, it will be converted into percentage. So the percentage we are having 59.55. It tells us that what is the variation in the data. So the variation in the data is 59.55%. This is what called as a coefficient of variation. Okay, the next you see, we need to calculate the range one standard deviation. So we need to see that how many observations are lying between one standard deviation, two standard deviation, and three standard deviation. So this formula is mentioned that mean plus standard deviation, meaning one standard deviation, and the lower means we need to add. First time we will have to add one standard deviation in mean, and second time we will have to subtract one standard deviation from mean, so on and so forth. So you just we can simply mention it over here. So I'm just going to calculate the lower end first. The lower we will have to minus standard deviation, and upper we will have to add standard deviation. So here we have a mean. So what will I do? Equal sign mean minus standard deviation. So standard deviation we have already calculated. We'll click enter. This is the lowest limit, and then upper again equal sign. I'll click on mean and then plus standard deviation. So the first items within one standard deviation, so between 11 and 45. Okay, so this is the lower and upper. Similarly, we need to calculate items within two standard deviation. So here it comes with two standard deviations, equal sign mean and minus, I'll write 2 and then multiply by, because it is two standard deviations, so therefore I'm doing it like this. So here it comes minus 5.40 and then equal mean plus 2 standard deviation. So we can select this mean and then plus 2 and then multiply a standard deviation, which is 16.85. I've already selected it, so this will give us 62. Okay, so now I can reduce the number of decimals here up to 2 decimal places, and then we need to calculate items within 3 standard deviation. So items within 2 standard deviation we have calculated, items within 1 standard deviation we have calculated, and items within 3 standard deviation we can calculate over here. So it will be equal, this is what mean minus 3 multiplied by standard deviation, this is what 3 standard deviation, and here equal mean plus 3 multiplied by standard deviation. So this will give us both the limits, lower and upper, where items within one, it will tell us items within 1 standard deviation, items within 2 standard deviation, and items within 3 standard deviation. So this is our output. Interpret the above measures. So we have calculated these measures. Mean, you know it very well. Simply you can write that the average of all these given data set is 28.3. Variance, it shows variations. Standard deviation, it shows how far the observations what is the deviation in the data set. Then followed by coefficient of variation. So coefficient of variation is always in terms of percentage, and it tells us that how much variation exists in the data. So you can write any journal comment over here based on your understanding. The same thing we need to calculate for another set of data called group data. So you can just have a look here. I told you already, when you calculate measures of dispersion for uh, ungrouped data, so there are some built-in formulas in Excel, and we can calculate all the measures of dispersions comfortably by using built-in formulas in Excel. When it comes to calculate the measures of dispersion uh, for a group data, so then we need to look at these formulas, and then we will have to fulfill the requirements of these formulas to calculate the measures of uh, variations. So the first you can see we have standard deviation. So I'm just going to insert some empty lines so that I could drag this standard deviation formula uh, just in front of the standard deviation here nearby the requirement. If you look at the formula, here it says that we need frequency and then we need to multiply it by x square. And in addition to it, first we will have to calculate the mean. Whenever x is denoted by the small bar over at the top of it, it is called as a mean. So to calculate mean, we need to first we need to know that what is the sum total of the frequency. So to calculate frequency sum total, so simply I will go to home and then I will click on auto sum. So this will give us a frequency. In our case, it is 42. It is 42. Then afterwards, we need to calculate uh, fx. So f into x square. So we are not having x value. So x is the midpoint. So simply I will put heading here midpoint, which is x. So how to calculate midpoint we have discussed in the previous videos. Again I'm going to explain. It is basically the sum of lower limit and upper limit divided by 2. So this is what I'm going to do. Lower limit is 40, upper limit is 50, and then divided by 2. So this will give us 45. So similarly 50 and 60, it will become 110, and if you divide it by 2, it will give you 55. So with the difference of 10, every successive midpoint there is a difference of 10. So the other values I'm just going to write by adding 10, 10 difference. So it will become 85, and then the last one will come 95. So this is what our midpoint. So here this is the midpoint. Okay, so but we need to fulfill the requirement of this formula. So as you can see that frequency is multiplying with x square. So this is I'm having simple x only. So I need to calculate x square. So this variable I'll have to calculate. I'm just going to put it this way, x square. So how to calculate this x square? Very simple. This is what x square. So what will I do? I'll click equal sign and then I will write 45 and then multiply by again this number. So it will become a square. So click enter, and then afterwards I will drag it down. I will get all the square values. Okay, then afterwards, after getting this, I can calculate the sum total in this column. So I will select all these observations and then In home screen, I'll click on auto sum. So this will give me the sum, which is 31,150. So this is what summation x square, but we don't need actually summation x square. So let me remove it. There is no need. Yeah, what do we need? We need to multiply f with x square, and then we will have to take a sum. We'll have to calculate sum of fx square. So here what I'm going to do in the next column, I'm just going to write f multiply by x square, f into x square. So here we have f, which is 2, and multiply by x square, which is this one. So we'll click enter, and then I will drag it down. We need a sum total of this column. So here in home screen, we'll click on auto sum. So this is what summation fx square. So I'm going to highlight this number with a different color so that it will look prominent. So this is our fx square, and this is our summation f. Now if we look at this data, this formula, so it shows x bar square. So x bar is a mean. So we will have to calculate mean or average. So the average will be, average formula is summation fx divided by summation f. This is the formula, summation fx divided by summation f. Here fx column we will have to add because of this average formula. I did not add earlier. I'm just following the formula, and then I'm just fulfilling its requirement. So here we need to calculate average also. So it means we need to calculate another column, which is fx. So f multiply by x. So here we'll press equal sign. This one is f multiply by x. So this comes like that, and then I will drag it down, and this will be the fx column. So then we'll have to calculate the total. We'll click on auto sum. So the fx will come 2930. So I'm highlighting it again with yellow color. So here average formula, you can see that we need to calculate average or x bar. Sum of fx is 2930, and we'll calculate like this, 2930 divided by sum of f. So this is sum of f. Click enter. So this will come 69.76. This is our mean. So after this mean, we can proceed further. Now I can fulfill the requirement of this formula. So just have a look clearly how I'm following it, how I'm applying formula, how I'm going to insert values into the formula. As you can see that the formula starts with the square root. So I will write SQRT, and will double click on it, SQRT. Then it says summation fx square divided by summation f. So I'm just opening another bracket for the sake of clarity, so that will not get error. So this is summation fx square. I will select this and divided by summation f. So this is summation f. And after this closing bracket, then comes minus. It says x bar square. So x bar square, we can write manually, or you can even select this. So x bar square, we are having 69.76, 69.76, and with the help of caret sign, I'll put square, and then I will close this bracket. So as you can see over here, what I have done, the formula is starting from square root, so I put SQRT, and then fx square. I've selected this fx square value divided by summation f. This is our summation f, sum of frequency, minus x bar square. X bar is a mean, so we'll have to calculate the square of this value, and then we can click enter. So by doing this, we will get a standard deviation 12.96. Standard deviation, we got 12.96. Now if you look at it, we need to calculate first quartile, third quartile, interquartile range. So I'm just going to add some more rows so that I could get some space. Now I'm going to drag down this Q1 formula. We need to calculate interquartile range, and you remember we did interquartile range for ungrouped data, and the concept is same. It is Q3 minus Q1. So I'm just dragging down the Q1 here near the requirement. So first of all, what will I do? I will list all the variables. So I need to know L, then we have W, then we have summation F by 4, summation F by 4, and then cumulative frequency CF before, and then afterwards we have frequency. So as you can see over here, as per the formula requirement, we should have a cumulative frequency column. So this is what I'm going to make this cumulative frequency column here, CF. So CF will be the first observation, the frequency will come as it is, and then followed by 2 plus the next number, and then you can drag it down. So this will give us cumulative frequency. Okay, so how to get this quartile class? This is very important. So what we will do, as you can see that the quartile class we can identify through by dividing the sum of frequency by 4. So you can see that the frequency we are having 42, and if we divide it by 4, so we will get an answer 10.5. 10.5. Now what we can do, we will search this number in the CF column. So the value we received is 10.5. So you can see 2 and then 10, but it is 10.5. So it means that the quartile is falling in the next class. So I'm just going to select this, and then I'm going to highlight it in yellow, and this will be our Q1 class, quartile 1 class, Q1 class. This is our Q1 class. So you can see over here that lower limit of Q1 class is 60. The width, which is the difference between highest and the lowest limit, is 10, and cumulative frequency before is 10. You can see over here, this one. And then the frequency of the quartile class. So frequency of the quartile class we are having is 13. So after mentioning all the values in front of the required variables, so we can apply the formula. So here I'm just going to apply formula over here, press equal sign, L plus W. So this is L, lower limit, plus W, which is 10, multiply by this, bracket open, summation F by 4, we are already having, it is 10.5, minus cumulative frequency before, which is 10, close the bracket, and the whole divided by frequency is 13, and you click enter. So this will be our first quartile. Actually it came in front of third quartile. I should have put it here. Okay, here it comes, 60.38462, and we can reduce the number of, we can reduce the decimal up to 2. So 60.38 is the first quartile. I'm going to highlight these values. Now we need to calculate the third quartile. Again, we will use the same method. Let me create more space. Now I'm going to drag the formula for third quartile and I'll keep it here. Now the third quartile, this formula will be, this variables, I'll just copy and I'll put it here for third quartile. We need to identify that which class is we have quartile 3. So how to identify? We have 3 summation f, meaning whatever we are having summation f, we need to multiply by 3. So I'm just going to write over here 3 summation f by 4. So summation f is 42. So how to calculate this? I will click equal sign. It will be 3, then multiply by 42 divided by 4. So this will give us a number 31.5. So this will be our Q3 class. Now 31.5 we will have to search here. So 31.5, you can see it will be this one. 31.5, it will be falling over here. Okay, so we'll select this class. It is between 23 and 32. So exactly 31.5 we are not having. So we have 32, so we'll select this class. So I'm highlighting it with a different color with green, and this is our Q3 class. This is our Q3 class or quartile 3 class. And after this, I will put all the values. So lower limit of this class is 70. The width of the class 80 minus 70 will be 10. 3 summation f by 4 we have already calculated. And cumulative frequency before. So cumulative frequency before is 23. And the frequency of the Q3 class we are having 9. So we can apply this formula here. I'm just going to calculate it here. So the formula says L plus W. L is 70 plus W, which is the width, is 10, multiply by 3 summation f by 4. So 3 summation f by 4 we have calculated 31.5 minus CF before, which is 23, and then we need to divide it by frequency of the Q3 class. So this is what I've selected, is 9. So click enter. We got this third quartile 79.44. So this I'm going to highlight in yellow, and I'm just keeping its answer up to 2 decimal places. Now the next one is interquartile range. Interquartile range, we know it very well, that interquartile range is basically Q3 minus Q1. So we have already calculated Q3 and Q1. So Q3 we have calculated 79.44, and we need to minus 60.38. So this will be our interquartile range. So let me write it over here. Interquartile range, this is our Q3 and this is our Q1. So interquartile range is 19.06. Then we have coefficient of variation. We know it very well. The formula coefficient of variation is standard deviation divided by mean. Standard deviation divided by mean. So you can see here we are already having a standard deviation. Standard deviation I have calculated here, and this will be divided by mean. Mean we have calculated at the bottom of this table, which is 69.76. So once you select this, click enter, and then this will give you a mean, which is standard deviation of divided by mean. Once you do this, so this will give you coefficient of variation. So as I said in the previous question, that coefficient of variation, it is always in terms of percentage. So I will have to convert it into percentage by clicking on percentage sign. So this comes 19%. If you just reduce it to 2 decimal places, so exactly it is 18.5% variation. We are having 18.5%, 18.58% variations in the data. So I'm just going to highlight it in yellow. So these are the requirements we have answered regarding this question. So now you can compare, like when we were using ungrouped data, so mostly we have used built-in functions in Excel. When it comes to group data, so we will have to use these formulas, and then we will have to fulfill the requirements of these formulas. Once we calculate the variables, so simply we need to put those uh, the values of the variables in the formula accordingly. So this is the first example I've discussed. It was about ungrouped, and this example I've discussed, it is about group data. The next sheet here is another question, and this question you can just have a look, and the operations that I have performed here, for example, I have calculated the midpoint, x square, fx square, fx and cf. The same points you will have to calculate here, and you will have to answer all the requirements as per the way of calculations, the way I have done in my previous question. So if you look at it in this question, we have monthly expenditures on petrol and oil by 100 motorists. So these are the classes. We have this frequency. Here you can calculate the midpoint. Then you can calculate f into x. Like these are the variables you will have to calculate. First you will have to calculate x, which is the midpoint. Then you will have to calculate f into x. Then you will have to calculate fx square, fx square, and frequency. So you can just you can use this data to practice this question by yourself. So I hope you would have understood. The link of previous two lectures I will keep in the description, so that if you want to take reference from the previous lectures, so you can click and you can watch the related videos regarding previous two lectures. So if you like this, if you have learned these techniques and you like this video, so just share this video with others, and also subscribe to this channel and click on a bell icon, so that you will be able to get the videos which are in the pipeline for the next topics. Thank you very much.